I also was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute, say that again. Say that again, back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
Oh my God, my loves, let's break this down. Word on the street is that some of Hollywood's biggest uncles are sweating bullets right now. Why? Because somebody somewhere has been selling tapes featuring Diddy and his high-profile friends, and honey, they are not family-friendly. Now, before we get into the juicy details, let me remind you, we're dealing with a lot of allegations and rumors here. But when there's this much smoke, you know there's bound to be some fire. A few days ago, claims surfaced about explicit videos linked to Diddy being leaked on the dark web. We're talking naked basketball games and all sorts of wild shenanigans. And get this, all of this is going down while Diddy's sitting in a Brooklyn jail. Talk about bad timing.
Oh, I can't explain who the person was, but
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it? Or
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
So
you can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video. And I can tell the video is pornographic in nature.
Now let's dive into the tea, shall we? Ariel Michelle, a lawyer for one of Diddy's accusers, dropped a bombshell that's got everyone talking. She claims she was contacted about the sale of one of Diddy's tapes, and honey, it's not just any tape. We're talking about a video featuring Diddy and someone even more high profile than he is. Can you imagine? The mind reels. But wait, it gets even juicier. Michelle says she was contacted a few weeks ago by a new client who claimed Diddy assaulted her in 2018. This client apparently filed a police report at the time and told Michelle that Diddy was planning to transport her across borders for some not-so-legal activities. Yikes.
Due to the high-profile nature that it was Mr. Combs who did this, she was afraid for her life. She was concerned that if she was to come forward and say something, that no one would believe her, because we're talking about 2018 when Mr. Combs was still pretty much at the height of his career, still very much so an icon and influential figure. So she's just a young girl from Northern California who's gonna believe that he had done something to her like this. So she didn't tell anybody. She did not hire an attorney. All she did was make the police report in the hopes that maybe the police would try to investigate and come up with anything. But she said she kind of felt from the police that they were disregarding what she was saying, even without saying Mr. Combs' name. So she didn't feel any confidence that revealing his name would have done anything.
Now here's where things get really interesting. Michelle spilled some major tea about these tapes being shopped around Hollywood. She says one person contacted her about a specific video they had, wanting to see if the person in the video would be interested in buying it before it went public. Talk about a scandal. According to Michelle, this particular recording was made in Diddy's Atlanta home. And get this, she doesn't think the other person knew they were being recorded. Can you say invasion of privacy? But that's not all, bestie. Multiple sources are claiming that the feds have gotten their hands on a freak-off tape handed over by a male worker who had direct contact with Diddy. This person apparently signed a proffer agreement, which means they can spill the tea to federal investigators without fear of prosecution. Smart move, if you ask me. The tea this person spilled? Apparently, it was all about a threesome that went down in May 2023. The male escort claims he flew from Atlanta to Miami to meet up with Diddy and a woman. He ended up having intercourse with the woman while Diddy filmed the whole thing, and guess what? He handed over a copy of that video to the feds. Talk about receipts. Now let's think about this for a second. If one person is shopping around these videos, how many more are out there? Who else has similar videos and who's in them? And here's a thought that'll keep you up at night. Could the feds be the ones leaking these videos? The plot thickens. But wait, there's more. Remember those naked basketball games I mentioned earlier? Well, they're back in the spotlight, and guess who's allegedly involved? None other than Jamie Foxx.
What about those pictures that showed up?
What?
Didn't you have some pictures of you playing naked basketball or?
Oh, no, it wasn't that. We was on the beach or something. I don't know. It was young in my career.
Now, Jamie tried to deflect when this came up in the past, but honey, the internet never forgets. there were pictures of him playing naked basketball that mysteriously vanished from the web. And get this, there was even a post, which also disappeared, where Jamie apologized to his neighbors for these naked games. The tea on these basketball games is piping hot, y'all. DJ Envy once asked Jamie about them on The Breakfast Club, and Wendy Williams spilled some tea about them too. She mentioned how Tommy Davidson accused Jamie of ripping off his underwear in his memoir, saying it was because Jamie appreciates a high, hard behind like the ones he saw during these naked games. But here's the kicker. All this tea about the naked basketball games was scraped from the internet faster than you can say cover-up. Even a TikToker who had first-hand info about these games had to take down her videos after receiving a mysterious phone call. Luckily, I managed to find what she said.
When I heard about the Jamie Foxx situation, I was literally like 7 years old. And a lot of you guys don't understand that I practically lived at radio stations with my mom. Like, I was there 24/7. I was always at the radio station. So I got to hear adults talking about things because I was a fly on the wall at that point. So 7-year-old Crystal heard about these celebrity butt naked basketball games, and I couldn't remember who he even was. I just remember thinking at that time, I was like, why do those men want to play basketball naked together? Like, that's so silly. Like, they're funny. And it didn't dawn on me until I was like an adult that I was like, oh. And just to be clear, that this was not a judgment on Jamie Foxx at all. He was vocal about it, and he didn't mind telling people. This was in the 90s.
Can you believe it? This TikToker was dropping hints about who else was involved in these games. She mentioned someone who was married to a person who likes to drink lemonade and then made buzzing sounds. Y'all, she's talking about Beyonce and Jay-Z. Who knew Queen Bey's hubby might be involved in this mess? Now, apparently, these naked basketball games were part of a secret club Diddy created to promote self-love among his male friends and guests. And of course, he recorded everything. But besties, these basketball tapes are just the tip of the iceberg. There are allegedly a bunch of other videos that might be going viral soon, and some Hollywood uncles are already in damage control mode. One name that's come up? Will Smith. I know, I was shook too.
Young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills. Bashir Gray. Left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed a dog.
But it doesn't stop there. Remember Dwayne Wade? Well, his former business partner, Baron Richard Hallman, spilled some major tea. He claims Wade used an apartment to host adult, mostly gay parties with his friends during his marriage. Richard even described the apartment as a 4-bedroom place on the first floor of a high-rise that would get trashed after these parties. And if that wasn't enough, listen to what Jaguar Wright had to say about what goes down at the White House.
They ain't doing as much, I guess, now because they're getting older. I guess it just moved over to the Wade house.
Energy transfers.
And I'm not saying that because of their trans daughter. I'm saying that because of the artist that I just spoke to not that long ago that got invited to a party at their house. Everything was cool up front till they went to the back, and there was a bunch of old niggas and young boys back there, all naked in the Wade house. So I find it funny that Gabrielle's sitting there talking about boots.
Damn, Jaguar, she really doesn't hold back, does she? Now let's talk about some other uncles who might be sweating right now. Stevie J has been defending Diddy left and right, so it wouldn't be surprising if he shows up in these tapes. But you know who else might make an appearance? Tyler Perry. Remember when Christian Keys was exposing a very powerful person who bragged about having multiple young black men on the payroll? Many people speculated he was talking about Tyler Perry. Well, that story might be making a comeback because Uncle Perry is allegedly on those tapes too. But the name that's really got people talking? Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes, you heard that right. We all know about Leo's reputation for dating women under 25, but there have been whispers that this behavior might be a cover for something else. And now people are saying there's no way he won't be on those leaked tapes. Now, I've heard that a lot of these people who know they're in the tapes are moving heaven and earth to get their hands on them before they start making rounds. But considering we're talking about tapes from all the way back to the 2000s, I'm betting they won't be able to catch them all. And get this, Jaguar Wright claims that Diddy himself was selling these videos on the dark web for a whopping $500 million. She alleges that the videos feature high-profile names like Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, Brown, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, and Drake. Now, I know some of y'all might not believe Jaguar or Gene Deal, who said a lot of politicians are on these tapes too, but even if you don't believe them, believe this: the tapes exist and they're probably being shopped around as we speak. Now, besties, we can't possibly cover all the names that might be involved in this scandal. We're talking about potentially 30 years worth of tapes, but you can bet your bottom dollar that I'll be keeping my ear to the ground for any updates on this story. So, what do you think about these tapes being shopped around? Who do you think might show up in them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because you know your girl loves to hear what you think. Remember, my loves, while it's fun to speculate, we need to take everything with a grain of salt until we see some hard evidence. But one thing's for sure, this scandal is far from over, and it's bound to shake up Hollywood in a big way. That's all for now, besties. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more piping hot tea. And remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, even to celebrities who might be caught with their pants down, literally. Until next time, this is Hot Gossip, signing off. Goodbye.